Welcome to the Recovery Centered Podcast, the space for honest conversation about healing, hope, and the journey through mental health and addiction recovery. Each episode, we sit down with people making a difference, from therapists and researchers to change makers and to survivors. Now to explore what recovery really looks like in the world. This podcast is produced in collaboration with Beachway Therapy Center. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Recovery Center podcast. My name's Tim Roberto. I'm definitely your host, and I'm proud to say I have two phenomenal guests here in studio with me, and I'm also proud to say that this is the New Jersey version. Because down in West Palm Beach it's been very successful, and I've been asked to come up here and continue the march, continue to walk. And so I was coming up here a couple years ago, and I met Michelle out there and about. I was told you got to...
That's it. I can't actually pinpoint where that initial meeting was, but it was certainly through Beachway, and probably involved some staff at Beachway that put us in touch.
Yeah, because you're out and about, and we heard about you, and we like people that are out and about because we're dealing with a very serious condition. Mental health and addictions kind of has no mercy. It runs from Park Bench to Park Avenue and everything in between, So we had lunch, and it was amazing. I love and then I went to one of your groups, and it was really cool. Then you gave me Kim's backstory. I was like, wow, this is so cool. Like, I'm actually meeting people that have turned, I guess, an unfortunate situation into a purposeful situation or a purposeful movement.
Right.
And when I was at that meeting, just to see those people sitting in the chairs, I'm like, my gosh, unfortunately, sometimes it goes the way maybe we don't want it to go. But I also, on the flip side, I think it's going exactly the way it's supposed to be. Otherwise, it'd be different. So when I went down to your meeting that day, I was like, my gosh, look at all these people in here trying to get well. And then I thought about Kim. I'm like, okay, well, if Kim didn't meet Michelle or vice versa, and if they didn't go through what they went through, if I didn't go through what I went through, blah, 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 I wouldn't even be here with you guys today. So that's what I'm getting at. Like, there's like that special spot, that sacred secret sauce, kind of really cool. So I'm honored to be here. And Kim, I know Michelle a little bit better. So how about I'll start with you, and just, would you kindly introduce yourself? Tell us about you, what happened, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Awesome.
I'd be happy to.
Yeah.
My name's Kim Porter. I helped to be a part of the conversation 15 years ago. It became a nonprofit a couple of years later. But what prompted me to do that, because before that I was a graphic designer marketer. I was not in the addiction field.
Yeah.
But I do, just to go a little bit further back, I have a dad who's 94 years old who has 28 years in recovery.
Oh, wow.
So I've been an ACOA. I've been in some kind of 12-step meeting for about 38 years, so more than that.
True definition of it's never too late.
No, never.
Oh
he
my
was
gosh,
66
that's
years
phenomenal.
old when he got sober.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
it is
incredible.
not too late. He has turned his life around. He's amazing.
Yeah.
But it was when my son became addicted to drugs and alcohol that really caught my attention, obviously, in a very different way. And it was a much different experience as the parent of, rather than the child of, the adult child of. And I was running around with my hair on fire, trying to save his life.
Yep.
And we are so fortunate that we, through a series of almost accidents, found this interventionist who did a phenomenal job coaching us and getting us through that really, really unthinkable time. He agreed to go to treatment, and he has actually been sober 16 years ever since the day we did the intervention.
God. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Treatment works.
It does.
It works.
It
I'm not
does.
going to, it's just the bottom line, period. It works.
Yeah. He's 37 years old. He became a dad a week ago today.
Really? Congratulations, Grandma.
Yes.
You look too young to be a grandma.
Oh, heck no. No. I'll be 65 in a month, so no, I'm ready. I'm ready for that baby. I'm going to see him. They live in Colorado. Anyway, it's long, this whole thing. He's married to a therapist. It's like life could not be better.
What space is she in?
So she's a somatic psychologist.
Somatic.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
So a lot of trauma and all that. Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah.
And she's taking some time because she just had a baby. So,
I get it.
Good for her.
But they're amazing. And it was really that being in such a dark, scary place, not knowing when it's your child, when it's your dad, you're like, oh, dad, get it together. Oh my God, look at the family. When it's your child, it's like, what do we miss? How do we miss this?
For sure.
Oh my God. And I need to fix this. I need to save him.
Yep.
And a lot of us spin our wheels for a lot of years trying to do that on our own. And I always say, you can't DIY this. And so I'm just very grateful that I met the right people at the right time who said, here's where he needs to go to treatment. He had stellar care, which not everybody gets to have.
Yep.
We get that.
Yep.
But that process, it opened my eyes to this whole world of treatment options and pathways to recovery that I had no idea existed.
Yeah.
And so there was just a really beautiful opportunity to start very grassroots, at that grassroots level, to educate the community. And I will say this was 2011 when Be a Part of the Conversation was getting started. So that's right when the opioid epidemic was ramping up and all those prescribed opioids were turning into heroin use.
Yep.
And so it was fertile ground for like, help me to understand this, everybody in our community. Our first community program, which dealt with the science of addiction, we had 120 people show up.
Wow.
And we're like, okay, we've touched a nerve here. There's something going on. So I'll take a breath and let you ask some questions, but it has grown tremendously since then. Obviously, we started off in Pennsylvania. I'm sitting here in Princeton, New Jersey with my friend Michelle, and it's grown and grown and grown. But lots changed.
I'll get to Michelle real quick.
Sure.
I just wanted to say though, like, so we're in Princeton, New Jersey, and like I said, I think maybe, I don't know if it was in the podcast yet, but when we were talking prior to recording, I said it runs from Park Bench to Park Avenue and everything in between. It doesn't care who you are. When you got the bug, you got the bug. Right. It's like amazing that, in a community like this where 120 people showed up. Wow. Yeah. And so, so Michelle, it's great to have you here too. I loved when we were talking before, I think we started recording, what a pleasure it was to meet you and have lunch with you and hear a little bit about you and why you're doing what you're doing, but they haven't heard. Okay. So let's move into that,
Sure.
Why did we meet? What happened? That kind of.
Yeah. Well, I have some common crossover with Kim. We have a daughter who struggled with alcohol addiction. As soon as she went to college, she took her first drink and she was off to the races. Because she was on record for saying that people who drink are really stupid, crazy, who would put drugs into their body. What she had been doing prior to drinking was sort of coping with her high anxiety through middle school and high school, feeling that she didn't fit in, was not good enough, not as good as her older sisters, need to do more, how can I shine? And so she threw herself into achieving academically at the highest level that she possibly could, which also that level was insufficient, and trying to be, a superb athlete.
Yeah.
And so now she finds herself can't stop drinking and getting blackout drunk, and had to keep it to herself, which she did for some time, and we couldn't see how all of these crazy pieces were fitting together, and we certainly didn't give it the name addiction. So my husband and I were sort of wondering and struggling why her life was falling apart. And as the recklessness continued and the dangers increased, hospitalizations and the blood alcohol level going up each time, we started to finally begin to wonder, at least, if our child had a alcohol addiction. From that point on, she was our focus. She's the middle of 5 daughters, but she became the one and only in our waking moments, needing to ensure her safety, needing to protect her addiction, needing to keep it under wraps for her, not letting it out, not telling our siblings what was happening, and trying to help her keep her life going which was off the rails,
Yep.
while she was still in active addiction.
A natural response.
Natural.
Yep.
Very
for sure.
unhelpful. It got us very unhelpful. It got us nowhere.
Yeah, but you don't know that.
No,
You don't
we
know
have-
that initially.
yeah.
It's your daughter.
So it's this whole time period where we're spinning our wheels.
Yep.
Her life is continuing to go off the rails, and the rest of our family was getting very little to no attention from both the parents.
Yep.
We were in a bit of a crisis.
Yeah.
She did run into enough problems that her only option was to go to treatment. So I'm not sure she went willingly or with full intent for recovery, but she was at a point where she couldn't get to the next day without at least surrendering to treatment. While she was at the first treatment facility, my husband and I got our first dose of education, family education, and information that now seems a part of me that I feel as if I've known these ideas, concepts, approaches for a lifetime. I didn't. They were brand new. So it was a really new way of thinking about our family system, about the individual with the addiction, and about our role in all of that.
Yeah.
After a weekend of that education, and also another key for me was I was meeting other parents
There you
that
go.
were struggling.
Connection.
And if I had seen them out at the grocery store, I never would have suspected that they were having that kind of a problem, same as me. So I was realizing how much I needed some peer support. So I asked at the treatment facility, where do I go to get more of this? They suggested that I try to go find a parent partnership program.
Love it.
That was in Pennsylvania. So I found the one closest to me, about an hour away in Horsham, and started going. And I probably didn't, I don't think I talked for the first 2 or 3, maybe 2 nights, and did a lot of crying. But I left after the first night and said, I'm coming back. It was a miserable experience, but I'm coming back.
Yeah, you were hearing what you needed to hear.
Exactly.
For sure.
And I had a lot of questions, and no one ever told me how to handle our problems, but they spoke from their vantage point. And I was able to put together pieces when I could see the similarity of their stories and their experiences with it's exactly what we're going through.
Yeah.
So began to start to look at how can I view this differently, and not hover over, surveil her every move, and try to catch her every time she takes a misstep.
Kind of let her start falling a bit.
Yeah. And say no when she asks for something that I really didn't want to do for her.
Yeah.
But to say no instead of yes.
I love it.
That was hard.
I love it.
It was really hard.
Very hard. It's a different kind of hard.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of hard.
Not being able to say yes to all of her requests was a critical change for me.
100%.
So she has found sobriety.
Yeah.
And she's been in recovery for 6 years.
6 now?
6 now.
I love it. There's 2, my friends. 2.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, our family's still healing as well.
Yeah.
And her relationships aren't where she wants them to be with all of her family members.
Well, it's not a
but it is improving.
And that's all you can ask for. I mean, it's better than not improving, right? Or going backwards. That's the thing about this, alcoholism, addiction, maybe some other dysfunctional family dynamics or homeostasis. It's not a spectator sport. Everybody gets to play.
Yeah.
Everybody. And so, as the one person may be struggling, we're getting addicted to rescuing them or fixing them, because I know when you took your daughter out of the hospital or your son out of the hospital, if I was Dr. Tim and said, oh, by the way, Kim and Michelle, your kid's going to get to this point, in their life, and just go to page 169. You'll be all right. It will tell you exactly what to do. Of course we go into the rescue mode. You're the parents, for God's sakes. And like you said, no education. You're only operating on what you don't know. You can't make a decision on what you don't know. And then you get involved with these people, and then we also know the truth too. Like, when somebody's putting it, to you in a different way, and like you said, the education and your way wasn't working. It's just a hard thing to admit, right? I think they call it denial. You just want to keep, I just keep fixing, right? And you don't have anybody in your corner to be like, yo, hey, back off a little bit. You can't deny people their due process. You don't have that kind of power. They have to go through but what I can do is teach you how people will treat you. I can teach you, because we teach people how to treat us. We show people how to treat us. And alcoholism is a very selfish illness, as you're very well aware of. And if it's not put in its place, it just keeps coming and coming and coming. And then you get outmaneuvered, and then you start feeling guilty, or they emotionally take you hostage. The alcoholic or direct take you emotionally hostage, and then they put it back on you, and then you start questioning yourself, and you're like, the hell, what's going on here? I haven't drank like this in my life. I feel bad. Like, it's the circle, the web is just
insidious.
It's brutal. There's nothing like it. We don't it's a very, I tried my best to teach people that's a very serious health condition, because it is. We listen to everything on Facebook or Instagram, like we take it like it's word, like it's fact, like, oh yeah. And I just tell people, read scholarly articles. Even in the 50s, right? The American Medical Association classified it as a disease. And a lot of people can't equate disease. They think it's like, I don't know, cancer or maybe green ooze or something, whatever. And they don't like, oh, it's a choice. And I agree to a certain extent. It is. But the updated scholarly articles now, if you want to read them, for anybody who's listening or your parent that's going through the ringer right now, they call it now, the new term is brain disorder. I'm not that smart, so I don't really complicate it anymore like I used to, because I always got outmaneuvered. But when I hear that, it's just, I hear like, I don't like how I feel. And I never ate my feelings, and I didn't gamble my feelings. I never had a sex addiction or any, I drank a lot of booze, and I had this allergy thing, like somebody, it's okay if somebody has a peanut allergy, there's signs all over the place. Don't bring any peanut butter in here, because that can be fatal. And I don't know, shellfish or bee stings, some people carry EpiPens. Like, my allergy was it started percolating. The coffee pot got plugged in when I didn't like how I felt. And I had all these great coping skills. I could cop anywhere. I just had no coping skills, and then when I put in, I had that allergic reaction, it's kind of like that obsession was shelved, and I was driven by that phenomenon of craving, I couldn't stop. So I love when an alcoholic like me, who a lot of people in your situations, how we get very resentful towards the alcohol. How can you do this to me, or your own version of that, everybody. And then you get into recovery like your children are, and I'm an orphan now, but my parents, when I moved into recovery, and here we are, the two people, the jokes, about Al and I at AA. It's like, they're probably probably bitching about the alcohol, and here we are, three on the couch, just trying to empower others, because we found a way out. And I really don't care, what you found a way out of, if it wasn't serving you well, or created separation in the family or resentments and all that, don't care. Recovery is just a beautiful thing, and I'm really happy that you guys moved into it, and you're here to show up for that mom or that dad or that loved one that may hear this. There's hope out there, and alcoholism's treatable, 100%.
Yes.
100%, because even after 19 years, physically, I'm screwed. That I know, I'm pickled already, I'm not a cucumber anymore. It got me. But here's the gift I was taught. I get to change my thinking because it was my thinking that kept putting it in, nothing else. And I think that's really special, and I love the word sacred because it really is. I have a fatal progressive illness, and all the kids, maybe be in the children's hospitals right now, with no hair because of all the treatments they're getting and all that. And I come walking in, oh, hey, I know they've told you, get all your ducks in a row. We've done all we can do, but I'm here to tell you I have a fatal progressive illness too. And all I had to do is change my thinking, I can only imagine what those parents would do if their kid got that diagnosis or any other kind of illness. You know what I'm getting? Like, just using metaphors, and it's just really, it's incredible. So I'm really glad that you moved into that space too, that we can recover regardless of what So how many chapters are there now? Is there a lot of chapters?
Yeah, we have, and I should say that before even the parent partnership meetings took off, we started with those kinds of community programs where we were just educating the general public about this. And where those started with educating about opioids, but also diving into other substances, particularly cannabis, talking a lot about these days, alcohol, methamphetamine, others. We also do programs that present programs that talk about pathways to recovery, co-occurring disorders, so other mental health challenges that come into play, and then supporting the families. And we were asked several years ago to move into the prevention space. So we work with K through 12 schools, not the children, but with the parents and educators and administrators to help them understand vaping is very different now.
Oh, yeah.
We can also get into process addiction. So you mentioned a few. With particularly with prevention programs, we're talking a lot about social media, online gambling, sports betting, gaming, all these things. Tech has really, and then you've got the pandemic generation and isolation. So we do get into some of those mental health components as well. But the community programs, we present about 40 to 50 every year, and about half of them take place virtually, and about half take place in person. We record a lot of them. We have 120 programs recorded. No, I'm sorry,
Amazing.
More than 200 programs on our YouTube channel.
Wow.
But then where Michelle comes into this is, as she started coming to Parent Partnership, how many years ago?
It was 7 years ago.
7 years ago.
Yeah.
They started
2019.
They started actually, they weren't called Parent Partnership then, but it predated Be a Part of the Conversation, which was, these meetings were like an offshoot of a treatment program, but they later came under our umbrella. So now we have 22 Parent Partnership meetings every week. Michelle's is the closest here where we are in Princeton. There's one here. There's one in Southern Delaware, but the rest are, another like 10 or 11 are in Southeastern Pennsylvania. Up to Lehigh Valley, Allentown area, all the way down to Media, PA, and one in North Philly. But then we have another 10 or 11 of those that are taking place virtually every week. So we have 22 meetings weekly, 5 days a week. 3 of the virtual meetings are particularly for parents of adolescents and young adults, which is a different set of challenges.
Yeah, for sure.
But they're all mixed. The parents have kids who might be 15 or 47 and everything in between. And we learn from each other. And then the other piece that we have, another service that we have is a family recovery course, which we developed the curriculum for about 4 years ago. This is a 3-part course that helps educate. Part 1 is what happened to my child, Addiction 101, that brain disease. We talk about the brain disease.
Love it.
Part 2 is family foundation. So looking at the family system. Is there trauma now? Probably.
Incredible.
And then part 3 is in family recovery. So we like to talk a lot about family recovery, which does not necessarily mean abstinence from alcohol and drugs. It means, what am I doing to maintain a healthy boundary? To stop protecting the addiction and have a healthy relationship with my child, regardless of where they are on their path to recovery or away from recovery even. We can still maintain a connection, but hopefully in a healthier way.
Yeah, for sure.
And all of these programs or services are free. We're very fortunate to receive funding from county contracts, drug and alcohol offices in our county government, as well as private donations. We're a nonprofit, obviously. We rely on that heavily so that we can offer all of these things at no charge.
Yeah, boy, if I had extra money, I would definitely I'd be throwing some your way.
Well, that's nice.
Well, I mean, it's just incredible what people can do, and they collectively support each other and go through the meat grinder like you guys did, and you made it out on the other side. And, why wouldn't you want to do that? But I can tell the way you guys both speak and present, you're very good at what you do. And I think when people have money, it's like it's money well spent. And again, it runs from Park Bench to Park Avenue and everything in between. So there's plenty of people with money.
Right.
And they don't really need to say anything. They can just donate, and who knows, maybe one of their kids is, or their wife, or their husband.
And they do give back. We just had our annual
That's
fundraiser
amazing.
a week ago, and we had 224 people in attendance.
Oh, my God.
And that was way more than we did the year before. So you couldn't be there. It was amazing.
Is that what you would call like a gala or something? Like a fundraiser?
We called it a spring brunch.
Like a dinner or a lunch?
It was brunch.
A brunch?
And,
at a nice place, kind of?
It was a country club. It was great.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, we raised a lot of money.
Silent auction.
The best part was the people. My remarks I just talked about, and I think you'll appreciate this coming from your background too. The third space. Are you familiar with the third space? I didn't know this term until recently. First space would be family. Second space in our lives would be workplace, and third space is kind of everything else, like community.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what a 12-step program is. That's what a yoga class is. That's what going to the cafe is, or going to the gym. And it's our parent partnership meetings. And that's our third space. And I just said, look around this room. This is a post-pandemic world where isolation is heightened, where people are not getting in their cars and going places. And we've got 224 people sitting in this room with some kind of shared experience that you want to support what we're doing going forward.
You feel home.
Wow.
Like you feel home, you're amongst your own kind, the meetings that you go to, or when the people come to your meetings, like they feel home, because, it's so good at outcasting us, and it's so good at separating us, like for the addict or the alkie, it kind of starts out as the ultimate lubricant, like, and then it ends up being the ultimate separator. So this community creates connection, and that's obviously the opposite. And I think whether you're using or not, family member, that's one of the antidotes, if not the antidote, to this whole process: connection and education, connection and information. So I'm not in the business of outcomes, but I love talking with people like you. You just make me, it's like squirrels are over here and squirrels are over here. I'm like, Timmy, rein it back in, buddy. Like, you got to stay. Well, because, we're fitting in all this information and all these unfortunate situations on both sides, and then we're fitting in recovery in around 45 minutes, an hour. So my brain sometimes is like, so if that one person is listening and they're like, gosh, we could use something like that here, can they literally reach out to either one of you and learn how to start a group, even if it was in Georgia?
Sure. Yeah.
Yes. You see where I'm getting at? I can go away.
We don't have one in Georgia.
Maryland or Delaware.
No, we don't.
No,
maybe you were thinking Delaware or Maryland, since it's right next to Pennsylvania. I don't know. I go. Yes. But technically, right? You could pick it up and put it down pretty much anywhere.
Yeah. Well, we would want folks to know how these work, because of course we've had Al-Anon and Nar-Anon meetings for a very long time. If people aren't familiar, these are 12-step meetings that are adjacent to AA, NA, and all of those that are for the loved ones. The reason Parent Partnership has taken off, and by the way, we absolutely heartily endorse all 12-step, all pathways to recovery.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm a member of Recovery Dharma. There's Smart Recovery. There's all kinds of pathways. What's different about Parent Partnership, and I believe the reason that they've grown the way they have, is it's in the name Parent Partnership, which means parents, guardians, grandparents, anyone in that parental role. It's a different dynamic. As I mentioned earlier, having a dad in recovery, that's different. Having a spouse or partner in recovery, or who needs to fight recovery or is in recovery. It's a different dynamic. The boundaries are tougher. The fear hijacks our brain. We really need to be in a room with other parents, and we need crosstalk. And as you know, 12-step programs frown upon crosstalk. And I found when I was going to Nar-Anon meetings, the meeting after the meeting was almost as long as the meeting, because we needed to talk to each other. Can you tell me about that interventionist you used? What did you do when they wrecked the car?
Yeah.
And we're not advice giving, as Michelle
No.
said. We're just saying like, well, here's what worked or didn't work for me.
Shared experience.
Exactly.
Right?
It's the same as one alcoholic helping another
Correct.
alcoholic. It's one parent helping another.
Well, you guys get each other. Like you
do.
talk to
We do.
people, other people that didn't go through what you guys went through, and people are just like, well, why would you do that? Or whatever the version would be of listening to your story or something.
And they say, why are you still going to that parent
Yeah.
partnership? You said
doing
your
okay,
daughter's in
right?
recovery.
Yeah.
You said she's been sober for 6 years. Why are you doing that?
Lack of knowledge. I just would like lack of knowledge because like, how do you understand something you've never experienced? Like, how do you do that? So, we're in a very unique club,
Well-
regardless of what ball team. It's like a
Right.
right. It's a,
Yeah.
I'd say the other issue that keeps you from talking to people outside of parent partnership is the shame. I would need to admit to people in my circle of people that my daughter is not just struggling, she's floundering.
Mhm.
She's at risk for, losing her life. We have apparently not done something that enabled her to thrive, and for me to talk about that out loud is it's unsafe. It feels very too risky.
Well,
So
all
I
the
need to
stigma
talk about it in a room.
Yeah, all the stigma attached to it, though. That's from my experience. That's what it's all boiled down to. Is the stigma. Like, I mean, I get it to a certain point. Like, who steals from their mother?
Yeah.
Who steals from their dad? Who gets into a car wasted and driving a nuclear bomb? Who gets angry? Like all that. I get all that. But at the same.
What kind of a parent raised that kid?
But it's not the parent's fault.
Right.
You didn't cause that.
It takes us a while to learn that,
Oh,
though.
it does.
It
We
takes us a
hold
while.
on to that
I agree because of what the
Deeply.
world says.
deeply.
Instead of having people educate you on, like, I mean, I boiled it down over the years because, as you know, and as I know, it can become very complicated. And like, I think one of you already said it, you can go so far down the hole. It's like, you just don't know what, like you're beside yourself. So I just keep it so simple these days, and it's like there's a circumstance and there's situations and circumstances on how you handle things. Not everybody's an alcoholic, but at the same time, not everybody has that bug either. And it's something that we need to teach. And in the teaching, people, it's not your fault. Like, you don't make an alcoholic. Is there environmental conditions or contributions? I would say, yeah, in a lot of cases, but the end result is, and I always just say, and people kind of get a chuckle out of it, but I always say, if somebody's blaming themselves, which, we probably understand that, what did I do wrong? And you're not that great. You're just not that
You don't have that
great.
kind of power.
Yes,
And I just felt that would be the most respectful way I could bring it to somebody and say, in your, you didn't do it. You did the best you could with what you had, because my mom and dad or your parents, they're operating on what was given them, just like we're operating on what was given us. And until somebody's willing to look at, well, what was I given? Who were my messengers? It's not my fault. It's my programming. There's so many things that you can learn. And you guys know the truth. You also know the lie. And everybody else knows the truth and the lie. Game recognizes game. Real recognizes real. Like, everything we need to know is already in us. But I get that with lack of knowledge.
Right.
And a lot of people I work with, they get really resentful for their parents, and they say all kinds of things. Well, I think it's really inappropriate, to do that. For me as a professional, it's very unprofessional. It's just uncalled for, because they're operating on what was given them, just like you're operating. Like, I know what comes with alcoholism, and the message. So you got this little kid, underdeveloped, right? There's a. So I think that was great that we brought that up. If you're really struggling with that, give yourself a break and get a really good therapist, or go to a support group, and be amongst your own kind. Do you know the history behind Al-Anon?
Was somebody's spouse, I believe, right, in the early days?
Yeah, it was Bill Wilson, the co-founder, right, of AA.
Lois.
And
Right.
Lois. Of course, she went through the ringer,
Yep.
but she didn't give up.
Mhm.
So back then, the stigma was, you know what? I don't even know if it was worse back then or now. Like,
It's worse.
you think it was worse?
Well,
It's really bad,
Well,
too, right now.
Yeah.
You know, like what a lot of people are saying. But anyway, it was bad back then. So what she did, because she stumbled upon, right? What she did, it's Al-Anon because she shortened, because of the anonymity, right? Alcoholics Anonymous.
Right.
So the alcohol is for Al. I mean, Al is for the al. And how cool is that? Like she started a whole movement, and just like you're doing, you know, going through. There's really not much difference.
No.
You know, I think a lot of the behaviors and similarities, and
we're addicted to our child.
Yes.
I'm
yes,
absolutely-
they get addicted to the addiction,
We are
right?
My brain's hijacked. I lost focus on
Yes.
work, on other relationships, on my other child,
Yeah.
you know, all that kind of stuff, because I was absolutely hijacked. And our stinking thinking, you know, like, I got to do this. And I really appreciate that you brought up stigma, because we actually have a program called Challenging Stigma. It's actually coming up in Southern Delaware later this month.
Love it.
And we, you know, when you mentioned people have the judgment and all that kind of stuff, I really think that comes from a place of when you don't understand something, you just other it.
You what?
You other it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I would never.
Yes.
And you said people judge us.
For sure.
I've had people right to my face say, you know, I really think it just comes down to parenting. Like, really? You know? So, because I believe it's that person saying, like, well, we do things differently in our family, so it's not going to happen to me or my family. And I was just, when I was driving
I used to
here,
say those things myself.
well, of course, so
So
do I.
prior to this, I said, yeah, there are some factors here in my family that protect me from that scourge.
Right. Well,
Oh, yeah.
they're involved in activities, and we're
Yes,
making
yes.
sure that
We
and we
eat
talk
dinner
openly. Yes, we have family
We eat
dinner. We're very transparent.
That's the cure to
They
addiction.
know they can ask us anything. All that stuff.
Funny what we
Didn't
justify,
protect
right?
anything. But I was actually talking to my dad on my way here, and told him what I was doing.
That's so cool, man.
And he said, "Do you think it's getting better, the stigma?" He brought this up, and he
I love
said, "Do you
that.
think it's getting better?" And he said he thinks it is. And I said, I hope it is, because that's part of our mission, you know.
Yeah.
So, but I agree with him. I think that it is getting better. I think
it's
that
getting better.
little more- it's getting
It's
more
still a
accepted.
problem. It's still
It's getting a
holding
little more
people back.
accepted, but yeah, it's still there.
But it is
like,
improving.
Right.
Yeah, just kind of like asking for help. You know, I have in my 15th year of recovery, I started as a Marine. I started a charity, you know, and I work with first responders, because in that world, since we're talking about stigma, that's what it's called, stomping out the stigma. In their world, you know, it's a very closed society, closed community, and everything. I mean, literally, everything's good and fine. You know, and they're some of the bravest people I know. Like, they're very brave people, you know. However, asking for help is one of the hardest things to do. It's one of the bravest things to do. Actually, it's so bold, most of us don't do it, right?
Yep.
And that's what I tell these fellas. And so it just created a space, kind of like you did. You know, it created a space. There's no insurance. There's no invoicing. There's no report to HR, no EAP, none of that. First name only. I'm like you know, I work really hard during the year to raise money, because that's, oh my God, that's an incredible mountain to climb every year. And give them free sessions. You know, just to get them stabilized again, get them comfortable with possibly making more rational decisions. You know, maybe they will use their insurance card. Maybe they will report and use some of the services, because a lot of the towns, they have amazing services. But at the same time, like when I started doing this, I'm in Palm Beach County, and we have one of the highest death by suicide rates out of any other county in Florida for first responders. And it was just, I don't know, you know how these things move in your life, and you're like, kind of like, what are we doing about it? But you have your own version of it. And I started doing something about it. So, and then nationally, you know, you get into it a little more, you start wanting to learn more. And nationally, we lose more first responders to death by suicide than we do in the line of duty. So I'm just trying to play my role. So the stigma, yeah, I'm glad we brought it up too, and it pushed me into. I normally don't say anything about it because it just works, because you're putting your money where your mouth is, kind of like you guys. I mean, if we have an opportunity, sure, why not, right? We'll announce it and say something. You never know who may need to hear that.
Right.
So, but
there's so much denial around it, I think, because of that. And I think that was one of our barriers earlier on when we first discovered that Daniel was struggling with drug addiction. We didn't call it that. We said he was smoking too much weed. We didn't, because we knew about this much of the iceberg that was actually happening.
And today's weed's putting people in psychosis
totally
left and right. But I get it.
But when that was going on, he got in some trouble. He was a college student at the time, which didn't pan out in that phase of his life. And we took him to see a therapist who was not a specialist in addiction because we weren't ready to admit that.
Gotcha.
And here's what she said to his dad and me when Daniel said, "You can absolutely talk to my parents and, bring them back in. They can hear everything we discussed." He acted like all, transparent. So we come into the room and she turned to us and said, "Come on, didn't you guys get high in college?" So she completely validated him. Invalidated our concerns and the trouble he was in, frankly, because he wasn't forthcoming. Why would he be? He wanted to keep going. I don't blame her, honestly. I realized that we weren't willing to take him to somebody who understood addiction.
I get it.
And I share that story a lot with parents, especially in those prevention programs where they're asking about the cannabis that the kids smoke, or the gummies, or the whatever that's going on right now with THC, especially with a young person, or alcohol. A lot of things. Please don't be afraid to see a specialist. If your child had any other malady, you would want to rule out a worst case scenario. So why not take them to somebody who fully understands whatever is presenting? And we weren't ready for that, and so kept going for another year.
Stigma.
It's the stigma. Absolutely.
No, not my kid.
Right.
Syndrome.
100%.
A lot of addicts and alcoholics, like your daughter, Michelle, they got that. I just keep it simple. I call it the overachievers syndrome.
Yes.
The overachievers syndrome, man. It just beats people down over time. And, what's wrong?
Striving until it deteriorates you.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's relentless. So, what anything's upcoming, or any new things that they should hear, or?
Well, you mentioned outcomes. It's really kind of cool. I work with a really terrific young man named Bob Lamb. He's our director of programs and partnerships, and he has his master's in public health, and he's partnering with a doctoral student at the University of Pennsylvania to, Hayden's dissertation is on the traumatic impact on family members of addiction. And so the two of them, I'm like, well, we got your population to survey, and so they're looking at the outcomes of our family recovery course in particular. That's our most captive audience, where we have a pre and a post. Because it's a 3-part course, we've already been surveying them, but they want to be much more, have more method behind the gathering of data and measuring metrics and that sort of thing to show how's your quality of life. Not necessarily how's your kid doing, but like, how are you doing? How's the financial situation, your sleep, your other relationships? All of those things get impacted. All the things that Michelle and I know anecdotally and living it every day with these family members, we're trying to validate that, through this research. And so I'm so grateful that we're working on that to be able to show those outcomes. And hopefully there's not enough. So I'm a certified family recovery specialist now, which is a peer specialist role. Certified recovery specialists, meaning those in recovery who are coaching others seeking recovery. There is now, thankfully, reimbursement for them. So they're working with treatment providers, emergency departments, and so on.
Incredible.
But certified family recovery specialists are not, there's nothing reimbursable for us. We're hoping some of this research will prove that we can improve outcomes for family members, so that there will hopefully be someday much more value given to this experience of
I know South
families.
Florida peers have a lot. It sounds to me like more influence down there because it's lived experience.
Right.
And down by us, it's considered. Hopefully, it changes up here, or if it's not change. It's very valuable.
And I
Extremely.
only have anecdotal support to what goes on in a parent partnership meeting. But personally, physically, my shoulders began to droop, began to breathe at a little bit more of a regular pace, and was not operating on hyper alert, such any sound could make you jump, whether that sound was connected to anything to do with any of my children.
Sirens.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah, on eggshells.
In our parent partnership here in Princeton, we began November of 23. We've served somewhere between 30 and 40 people. We get generally 8 to 16 people at a meeting each week.
Amazing.
Some of them will continue for as long as they care to. Others, as their lives improve, again, regardless of whether or not their child's life improves, as their lives improve, they want to continue to come. They're still getting something from it.
Yeah.
And I love those people who show up
because
they offer clear evidence to what can happen if a parent begins to operate differently.
And those parents, they know it when they hear it.
Yes. Oh, yes.
But actually putting the action, connecting the action to what you know is right, what you're hearing, that's a whole different ballgame. So to get people back is unbelievable.
Well, there are many parallels between our child with addiction and us as parents.
Yeah.
So the one that comes to mind is when my daughter says that hopefully when people walk into an AA room, the thing that makes them come, or one thing that makes them come back, is they say, I want what that person has. And I see that happening in our rooms. Family members who hear from other family members whose families are in distress, but their personal ability to move from day to day is better than what that new family member is experiencing when they come in. Their lives are in such distress. So if they say, I want what that parent has, and it's not always that parent has a child who's recovered and thriving, but I just want the life that parent has.
If I could add to that, what I really love when I see happen is, and Michelle and I are both so fortunate that our children have, at least for today, are in recovery. My heroes are the family members who keep coming back, and their kid is still out there.
I love it.
And for that newcomer, that's not what they necessarily want to hear. They want to hear the hopeful story, but there's so much hope in that, like, wow, that mom or that dad or that grandparent, whatever, is putting one foot in front of the other and having a healthier life than they did before they found this connection, and modeling it for their kid that might not be ready, and not rescuing, which might actually raise the bottom, all those things that is just, and we actually have, I'm losing track, unfortunately, because we have so many of our parents who've lost a child since they became involved. They're still involved. They went out and got certifications to be family recovery specialists like I am. They started a bereavement group. We have a bereavement group now that meets in person every once a month for now. They're looking at starting a second one in another region. Those are wow. I don't know where I would be. I hope that I would hope hang in and all that, depending on, regardless of my son's path. But wow, they are unbelievable guides, mentors, all of it.
What I think that shows to people who come in is that we're not here to save our kids. We're here to make our lives better. And so if that family member is coming back, who's lost their child or whose child is continuing to use, they demonstrate that their lives are better. That's what this family group can offer you.
Hey, you guys are amazing. It's like the AA, it's a program of attraction, not promotion. And
there's so many similarities.
Oh,
we're in the same group. Perhaps
nothing changes.
They go hand.
Yes.
Yeah, they go hand in hand.
They do go hand in hand.
My mom got addicted to me, and I was addicted to alcohol. The similar. It's kind of like somebody grows up in an alcoholic environment, right? Clinically, I'll put that hat on for a second. There's a lot of people that grow up in the homes, but they're not. They don't use alcohol, the substance, but like what we call them para-alcoholics, because they run parallel to the behaviors of alcoholism. So they're might not be drinking, but they're irritable, restless, discontent, they're dysfunctional, lack of self-worth, resentments, all the same. They just don't
relapse.
Yes, we do.
Relapse.
You relapse too,
yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think you guys are a miracle, really. I think you're really amazing. I knew you, but now I feel like I really know you even more, both of you. And I just can't believe what you're doing. Like, talk about turning your pain into purpose. Oh, my gosh.
Thanks.
Like, you're like the female versions of Bill and Bob, the co-founders.
There we go.
I'm really serious. Like, because you didn't know what to do.
No.
Either did I, but I had a place that was already in place to have somebody in my life say, I'll show you what I did. Yeah. And now you guys, you didn't know what to do either. Now you got this incredible thing going where people have a place to go so they can learn what to do. Like, and man, it's just, I'm getting that lump in my throat right now. It's really so beautiful, because either side of the fence, there's so many people struggling out there with this, and it's just amazing. And I can't believe I have the honor and the privilege to do a podcast with you. So just that one more, hopefully it reaches that one person that just needed to hear what you guys had to offer. Any last words? Any, how can we get in touch? How can they get in touch with you?
Our website is the easiest to get in touch with us. It's conversation.zone, Z-O-N-E. My email is kim@conversation.zone, but you'll find on that we have hundreds of pages on our website. The parent partnership meetings are listed there, the family recovery course. We also, I should mention, we just recently hired a director of family support, so we're doing a lot more one-on-one coaching, and she'll provide access to other certified family recovery specialists, because there's some people who are just not ready for that meeting.
That's
right. 100%.
They just want some one-on-one. And I know you've probably met people for coffee who are like just still contemplative, but not quite there yet. So
amazing.
The website's the best place to start.
Yeah, I had no idea you're on this level. It's incredible what you're doing.
Thanks,
since we're in New Jersey, in Mercer County area.
On that same website,
you're
under
there?
Parent Partnerships, Princeton Parent Partnership is our specific group.
Awesome.
Again, there are 21 others, 10, 11 of them run virtually.
Awesome.
And then if you look at Princeton Parent Partnership, you'll find my email, my cell phone, the location of our meetings, Monday nights, 7 to 8:15. Awesome. Basement of St. Paul's Church in downtown Princeton.
Yeah, that's where I went.
But
down.
Please, anyone's welcome to call or email me. Sometimes it's too much to walk. Get out of your car and walk in that room.
Yeah, I'm going to plant the seed right now. I think there's a workbook in the making.
We actually
terrific. A terrific.
We've got something called Standing in the Storm.
Yes.
That's
what
really
about co-authoring a book of your stories?
Well, that's what Standing in the Storm is. It has a lot of stories. It's actually being revamped right now.
Okay, cool.
Working on a newer version.
I'm not sure how you can revamp it. That is a powerful document, and it's sort of just a grassroots effort.
Love it.
But it hits every person is offered it who walks into the room, and when they come back, they say, "I've been reading that every chance I get," because the stories really hit home.
Right. And we have in that family recovery course that comes with the manual. So even if you're taking the course virtually, the manual is shipped to you. And what really just warmed my heart was I pop into a lot of our 22 meetings whenever I can, and I was in our Exton meeting, and this gentleman who was there, and he had his manual with him, and it was just full of handwritten notes, and he said, I carry this to my meeting every week, so that's another valuable resource. And I should have mentioned that family recovery course has a 92% retention rate, meaning they complete it and they haven't paid for it. So that tells me again, there's that connection. Like, they found their people. Now they're going to a parent partnership meeting, taking their book with them sometimes. And
that's so cute, right? That's awesome. Like, I'm a student now,
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, how cool is that? Like, giving people that opportunity, and like just giving people the experience, like it's possible, recovery's possible, and I can do better. It's really cool.
When you start to feel a little more control in your life, you just want more of it.
I don't blame.
You don't
want
to continue with the chaos. You really don't.
Oh no, it's awful. We're not designed for that, and that's why it breaks us down. We're just not. We're designed to be peaceful, and be content and happy and communicate. And nobody does this anymore. I know podcasts are kind of the thing now, but when I run a group and stuff, everybody's like, well, where's the worksheet? I'm like, I'm not a worksheet guy. I'm not disrespecting them. Are you going to do anything on the board? Here and there. Don't get used to it. I want to talk about what's really going on. So since you were inquiring about where's the worksheet, why don't you start? And they're like, yeah, I get it, man, because you haven't done it in so long. Get back to the basics, man. You'll be amazing where the basics will take you, because it wants you to complicate it. It wants you to overthink. It wants you to control, because that's where it thrives and it manifests into total chaos. Hey, I hope we brought you a phenomenal podcast with phenomenal resources. I think we did. Very grateful to people like Michelle and Kim that are turning their ups and downs into some really monumentous results. And so with that being said, you can reach me at tim.r@beachway.com. I'm all over social media, and I think Michelle, Kim are on the same page with me. Keep plugging away. Reach out if you need help. You're worth it. Until next time, we wish you peace and love. Thank you so much.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.